Welcome to the Wayne Bennett Podcast, celebrating West Virginia's people, places, and the culture of Southern Appalachia. Now here's your host, Wayne Bennett.
Welcome to the Easy Come, Easy Go podcast. My name is Wayne Bennett, and this is our 17th episode. And before we get started, this is Friday before Memorial Day, and I'd like to pay tribute to the brave men and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice and let us remember just not the heroes, but our loved ones who've passed on. And today, the ones who are still around, let us count our blessings and stand proud. And you know that we have talked about this before, but this is the 43rd year of our golf tournament called the GEBO, Greater East Beckley Open. And we have, it started out, a group of caddies at Black Knight Country Club got together, sort of a reunion type thing, and it has grown. They involved some of their kids and grandkids and friends, and it is the longest open tournament in West Virginia. Now the West Virginia Open is older than the GEBO, but it's really not an open. You got to qualify for it, and so that doesn't make it an open. But the GEBO is this is our 43rd year, and our special guest today is a guy who has won the tournament several times, and we're glad to have him, Mr. Timmy Boggs. Welcome, Tim.
Hey guys, how is everybody today? Thanks for having me, Wayne.
We're glad to have you. And how many times have you won this tournament?
I've won it 10 times.
10 times.
10 times.
And your uncle, Billy Lane, he's won it, I think, 19 times. And so you guys are kind of kept it in the family.
Yeah, we have. We've done pretty good in it.
You grew up in East Beckley, didn't you?
I did.
Where'd you grow up?
On B Row Avenue.
B Row Avenue.
Yeah.
Went to Sylvia School?
Went to Sylvia School.
And your parents are from East Beckley also?
Yeah, my dad is from Raleigh. And then Mom is from East Beckley.
Okay. And I know she went to Sylvia School. Where'd your dad go to school?
He went to, it's a school, RMI.
RMI,
yeah.
Yeah, we used to, Raleigh Mining Institute, they used to play them in basketball sometimes. They were always pretty good. And but now, when you went to Sylvia School, it wasn't an 8th grade school, was it?
No, it was 1 through 6.
1 through 6. Who was the principal there then?
When I first started, I think 1st through 3rd, it was Mr. Bone, and then it was Mr. Meadows my last few years there.
And now they've. How did you get started playing golf?
I got started. I went and watched Billy play in the West Virginia State Amateur one time when I was 4.
Really?
And I just fell in love with it. The next year, they bought me a set of clubs, and I fell in love and wanted to start playing.
Who actually took you out the first time?
Billy.
Billy?
Yeah, Billy was the first time. And then my brother started taking me a little bit. He's 9 years older than I am.
Who is your brother?
Norman Boggs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you kind of got attracted to it at age 4.
Yeah.
And where did you mainly play at that age?
Cool Ridge.
Cool Ridge.
Cool Ridge.
The rock pile.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of the launching pad for a lot of young golfers. At that time, you could pay $7 and play all day long.
Yeah, you could. Dad used to take me out there when I was 12 or 13, and when he'd go to work, he'd drop me off on his way to work and come pick me up when he got off.
Wow.
We'd walk upwards of 54 holes a day.
That and Steve Wood and Stephanie and that family just really good to our golf tournament. We had first several years we had the golf tournament out there. We would play team golf on Saturday and play individual golf on Sunday, and that was our home until they closed the course down, and then we had to move. We moved around went to Black Knight, went to Woodhaven, went to Briar Patch, and now we've come back to Black Knight. And that's originally where the idea started of the tournament anyway. And now when you went to high school, did you play on the high school team?
I did, all 3 years, 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Who were some of the teammates that you played with?
Ty Barksdale and Adam Kaminsky and Brian Showalter, Shannon and Jason Spicer, Kenny Fly.
Did y'all win state championship?
We did my first year there.
That's
in
what I was
'95.
thinking. I thought those guys were. I think it's the last time they won a state championship in golf at Woodrow. Yeah. I remember that now. The Kaminsky, did he went on to play college golf, didn't he?
I'm not sure if he did. I think he did for a year, and then he went to WVU and got into the golf field. He takes care of golf courses, golf course superintendent.
Well, that's a good way to get started. First year he played, he was on a state championship team. And now after high school, what did you do then?
I went to work pouring concrete for a couple years, and then I moved to Myrtle Beach and went to a golf academy and got a degree in golf course operations and management.
Now, how was that training? How did they train you to do that stuff?
It was just basic, like a business school pretty much. And then every week you'd have, 3 days, half of the day where they teach you how to actually play and work on your game. And you learned about how to take care of the golf course, run the pro shop.
Huh.
Yeah, it was a pretty good experience.
Have you ever worked at that?
I worked at Beaver Creek for 3 years before they shut down, and just the money wasn't as good as I wanted, so I went back to doing concrete work again.
Uh-huh. And now, how long did you go to this academy?
It was 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
And at one time, the golf course business, people were saying that was the thing to get into, and there were new golf courses opening up all over the eastern United States, and but then all of a sudden it started going back the opposite direction.
Yeah, it kind of shifted.
And, we haven't been able to keep them open. Even around Myrtle Beach area, there've been a lot of golf courses that have closed. And now, what was a typical day at the academy? I mean, did you stay there on campus, or did you?
No, I lived in a fifth wheel camper with a friend of mine that was from around here, Jeremy Cormack.
Uh-huh.
And we stayed in the camper, and then typical day was, you'd go and you'd have classes. Because, like business law and golf course architecture and stuff like that. Then usually the middle of the day, you'd go hit golf balls and play golf. And then sometimes in the evening, you would come back and have more classes.
What's your favorite golf course that you've ever played on?
Favorite golf course? I've played a bunch of them, Wayne. And I'd have to say my actual favorite is around here, the Cobb course.
The Cobb course?
Just the way it's laid out and the design, and, I love it.
Uh-huh.
And then the greens are just great.
Well, I've heard a lot about that one too. When you came back, I guess, from the academy, that was right around the first time you won the GEBO.
Yeah, 1 year after I got back.
Yeah. And it was kind of a funny story. We all kind of expected Timmy to win the golf tournament that year, and so on the Sunday after the individual competition was done, we giving out awards, and I had a green jacket that we was going to present to the winner like they do in the Masters, and of course Timmy won the tournament, and we got him up there and made the jacket presentation, put the jacket on him, and he was proud, and turned around, and then people started laughing, but what Timmy didn't know, we had put "I cheated" on the back of the jacket, and we all got a kick out of that. But and you're a good sport about it.
Oh yeah,
appreciate it. But that when that tournament first started, everybody teed off from number one, and everybody stood around and watched you, as you teed off. Well, that was okay with the good golfers, but us bad golfers. It wasn't too much fun, with everybody watching and stuff.
Yeah.
But, I think it was the next year, they always, on Saturdays, they would put the best golfers with the worst golfers. And Timmy got stuck with me the next year because I was one of the worst golfers in the tournament. And he had a brand new
I remember that.
He had a brand new big-headed club, and we were in the longest drive hole, And I said, man, I've never seen one of them things. I'd kind of like to hit with that. And he said, here, go ahead. Well, you don't realize how bad a golfer I am. Well, I swung and I hit about a foot behind the ball, and on that course it was rocky, and I think I hit a rock and put a dent in his brand new golf club.
You did. Big scratch right on it.
But you're a good sport about that.
Oh,
but he
yeah.
didn't loan me his clubs anymore.
No, you never got the privilege of hitting them anymore, unfortunately. Oh, good times.
But I'm sure you've watched a lot of golf. Who's your favorite pro?
Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods.
I grew up watching him, and the way he dominated, it just made me want to strive to be a better golfer.
I kind of, I like Tiger. I was pulling for big Lefty Mickelson this last, I think everybody was.
Oh, yeah.
He was the oldest guy out there. And what a lot of people didn't realize, he had the longest average hitting the ball in that tournament. That's a long course. And
Yeah.
he was the oldest guy, and he was hitting farther than anybody out there. So he had a good weekend. I'm not sure that he'll ever come back and do that.
I know.
again,
It'd be hard to capture that feat again. It's just amazing what he done at his age.
Now you play at Grandview. Are you a member at Grandview?
Yeah, I'm a member at Grandview. I have been for about 10 years now.
Now how does that work? How do you once you join? Do you have to pay again when you play, or how?
Yeah, you just pay your annual dues, and then you just pay. If you want to ride a cart, you pay a cart fee every time you play.
But if you don't use a cart, you don't have to pay.
No, you can just walk.
Do they still sell memberships?
From what I hear, they still have a waiting list. It's pretty hard to get on out there. And I was fortunate to get on because I love it out there.
Yeah.
And it's the best thing going right now, for sure.
Well, the Bridgehaven, I know that they, and in Fayette County, I know they still sell memberships out there. And that course has grown a lot. The first time I ever played out there, it was just a 9-hole course, and then they've added the back 9, and they push golf,
They do
a lot, and good guys. They always donate to our tournament. They always give us some passes for the prizes, and then the guys out at Fountain Crest. Is it
Fountain Springs.
Fountain Springs, yeah, in Monroe County. They always help us out too. We appreciate, and Grandview does give us passes for prizes, and so they're very, very helpful. Now you have children, don't you?
I do. I have 2 daughters, and actually, I'll be 41 next week, and I already have a grandson and one on the way.
Is that right?
Yeah, my oldest daughter, she's 22, and my youngest is she'll be 10 next month, and my grandson is 3 years old.
Well, I've been honored.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on your birthday too coming
Well,
up.
thank you. I'm excited. 41.
Well, we're going to we're less than a month away from the GEBO, and the tournament itself. Who knows what's going to happen? But where do you see Tim Boggs in 10 years from now? Where do you think will you be doing the same thing? Will you change something? Or will you?
I'd say I'll probably be still doing the same thing I am today, pouring a little concrete and playing a lot of golf.
Nothing wrong with that.
I'm definitely obsessed with the game of golf.
What would, if you had a choice, what would be on your bucket list? What would be, if you had a wish that you would...
Bucket list. Well, I mean, golf related is to play Augusta National. But I don't know if that'll ever happen.
Ever been on the course?
I have never been down there.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, I've just seen it on TV.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go.
They wouldn't let anybody like me on there for sure. But and what about business wise? What would be a bucket list, or personal wise?
Well, right now I'm trying to start my own company, working at that. I've been doing some jobs on my own. I'm probably going to go take my contractor's license exam here pretty soon. Kind of following the footsteps of the one that got me started at golf, my Uncle Billy, because he had a concrete company for 40 years.
Yeah.
So,
well, Yeah, I worked with Billy in the summer times. I got to work with him 2 or 3 years when I worked for David Hill, and I actually worked 2 years in the Washington area in concrete.
Okay.
And when I went up there, and some of those guys, Junior Bowyer and a bunch of those guys, they worked in Washington at that time, and I just happened to run into them and work for the same company that they did, and we thought we poured a lot of concrete up there. We all worked for Merritt Construction, and then when we got back here and worked with David Hill, man, those guys in Washington, they never poured concrete like David Hill did.
Well, he's something.
It was something else. And Junior Bowyer and those guys, Chapman Boy, and they came back here and all worked for David Hill, and that's where Billy learned his skill.
Yeah.
And it's a tough
Very
job
tough.
though. It's a tough
Very
profession, and you don't see a whole lot of old finishers
No.
around.
No.
They either become bosses or own their own company or get
Yeah.
out. So it makes it a little bit tough. But
Yeah.
but I'm glad to see you. You know, you're working. There's always. What's a yard of concrete cost now?
About $165.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember myself when I started, I mean, when I'm be 41, I started about 18, it was like $75.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's went way up.
Yeah, I think it was. I can remember it as low as $25, maybe $28 a yard.
Wow.
You will never see that again.
No, that's not going to happen. No.
Well, how many times? How do you get better in golf now? I mean, how many times a week do you play? Do you ever go just out and practice, or?
Well, you know, I play about 3 times a week, sometimes 4, and then a couple evenings a week I'm out hitting balls and chipping and putting.
Do you ever pick up pointers from other people?
Yeah, I watch a lot of YouTube videos to try to get better.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's so much knowledge out there nowadays that it's if you put your mind to it, you can get better at golf.
Who are some of the best golfers you've played with?
I don't know. I played with a guy named Buddy Allen down in Myrtle Beach. He won 5 times on the PGA Tour and once on the Champions Tour. And then I got to go around, and I didn't really get to play, but I got to walk around with Pat Perez. He's won twice on the PGA Tour, and man, he is a hoot. I'd like to hang out with him every day.
What about locally? Anybody around that I mean, well, I know they're all good on certain days, but who are some of the better golfers you've played with locally?
Definitely Mike Mays. I mean, he is so consistent, and he's just hard to guard. The way he hits the ball, it looks like he's barely swinging, and the ball just goes forever.
Wow.
And he knows how to win. You know, that's fun to watch.
That's important too. It's not just going out there and playing, but competing. And I know your Uncle Billy. A lot of times we would stick some good golfers in with him. And back in the younger days, he would kind of psych them out with talking and running. His mouth a little
he's
bit.
good at that.
And it would get under guys' skin. You know, and some guys couldn't handle it, and it was to his advantage.
Yeah.
And you know, but I don't think Mike does anything like that.
No. I mean, Billy used to do that to me some. And, you know, when I was a little younger playing in the GEBO, because he knew I was up and coming, and I'm his nephew, but he could get at me a little bit. And I'd be like, oh, goodness, what do I do now?
And well, I'm certain that was part of his strategy.
It was.
Anybody else that you locally that good golfers? I know there's some young guys out there. Landon Perry and some of them. Have you ever played with them guys?
Yeah, I've got to play a few times with Landon. He's a player. You know, for his age, I've never seen anybody putt as well as him.
Wow.
I mean, he makes everything he looks at. And he's a good kid. He's fun to be around.
And he's going to WVU, and I guess.
Oh, that's Todd Duncan is. Yeah, Todd's going to WVU on a golf scholarship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what's Landon Perry?
I'm not sure what he's doing right now. Last I heard, he was going to Marshall and trying to get in the golf business himself.
Okay. And the one guy at WVU this year actually finished second in the region, but because the team didn't qualify. He couldn't go to the nationals because he didn't win the region.
Oh, man.
And he actually, if you take away the first round, first day, I mean, he actually shot the best golf there and couldn't compete in the nationals. But what would you like to see around Beckley that, as far as golf is concerned, that we don't have?
I don't know. I think there needs to be, like when I was growing up, they always had a driving range. Like Billy Capps had a driving range, and that kind of helped the younger generation get started. I know Black Knight has a first tee program, but they don't actually have a range.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be an independent operated driving range in the area.
Yeah, I think Black Knight, they practice sometimes there down below the ninth green, and I can remember some of the caddies talking about in the old days that they would stand down there in the bottom with baseball gloves, and these guys would hit, and they would catch them and field them, and then bring the balls back to them and let them practice more. But you can only do that limited times.
Yeah, when there's not a lot of players there, for sure.
What do you think about the Black Knight course?
Oh, I love it. It's a really good layout for 9 holes. It's nice.
It's not a lot of water.
No, not a lot of water. If you keep it in front of you, you can play pretty good.
And what's your this year? We got 52 golfers. The club itself only has 26 carts, so it limits the number, and so we've got 52 golfers. We added team competition a couple of years ago, and for most of the average or below average golfers, they like that. And we don't push the competition too hard on that part. It's just kind of more like a fellowship and spending some time with the friends, but we kept the individual in there for the guys who are a little more serious and want to play. So it's worked out pretty good for everybody. But who you look for this year? I mean, we got everybody back that won last year. Last year, James Craigett won the seniors, and the senior individual, we moved Rick Vass up there, and that's pretty tough. Actually, seniors is tougher than the Masters because a lot of the real good Masters guys have gotten a little older, And but as far as the Open, who do you look for?
I don't know. I'm going to say myself. If I putt well, I think I can get another win.
Well, do you know Bob Strickland and Ed McCormick?
Yeah, Ed's a great player.
Yeah. Well, they're back, and I think they finished second, third last year, and I'm not sure how. I know they play a lot of golf. But I'm not sure how much they've actually played on that course, but they fell in love with it. Talked to both of them, and they're looking forward to the competition too. And of course, Mike Mays is back, and he's won the tournament now 2 years in a row, and so it's about time, I guess, maybe somebody needs to change that. So
I have to agree with that, Wayne.
We play 3 times a week. You've had the training. What's the difference between Tim Boggs and Tiger Woods? Or anybody on a professional tour now? I mean, what does it take? What is it that they have that?
Well, what they have more is consistency.
Yeah.
Like one day I might go shoot even par, and the next day I'll shoot 80. With them, they're always going to be right around the same. And their distance, nowadays they hit it so far.
Yeah.
And they're in such good shape. And and their putting as well. They make everything.
And something else that's changed is the equipment. I mean, the balls now and the clubs are, the guys are hitting it farther and the courses are longer. And I mean, some of the guys that played back in the old days probably couldn't play or keep up with the guys now because just the length of the course. And of course, some of the old guys complain that, well, that's not golf. That's you're taking a lot of pressure off the chipping and it's back on the driving, but the game has changed a lot, and But some of those guys I've seen, at the Greenbrier, they some of them are pretty good size, but some of them aren't that big either, and they swat it. I mean, they get it out there.
Yeah.
And so it's got to be something in the technique. And Tim, this didn't take long, man. I've enjoyed talking.
I have too, Wayne. It's been a pleasure.
I'm going to wish you good luck in the tournament. I always kind of root for the East Beckley guys, and of course Mike Mays is technically a East Beckley guy. He grew up down off South Canal Street on Austin Avenue, but he went to Lincoln School, so
okay.
We'll do him as an honorary.
Yeah, Mike's a great guy. He really is.
He is a good guy, and good luck in your contracting quest, and anything you want to add to it? We're going to have a little music afterwards, but anything you want to add to the...
No, the GEBO, it's a great tournament. I played in it since I was 14, and I'm getting ready to be 41, and I missed it one time, and I was upset that I missed it. It's just something I look forward to every year. And I will tell another little funny story about, it was the very first year I ever played in it. We was starting out on number 3, and I can't remember the guy's name. It was Keith, maybe?
Keith Harvey?
Keith Harvey.
Oh, boy.
We all hit, and he kind of rolled it off the tee, and me and Dwayne Simmons kind of went down to the right of number 3 over there by the trees and was watching Keith hit his second shot, and he cold shanked it, and it come right at me. And it's the first year I ever played in the tournament, 14 years old, and I turn, and it hits me right in the leg. And I dropped to my knees, and I start crying like a little baby.
Oh.
And by the end of the day, I had a softball-sized knot in my leg. And I bet Keith apologized 40 times that day. And just something I'll remember forever, a good memory of the GEBO.
Well, Keith always had a good time. I usually would have to go pick him up and then take him home too. And sometimes he'd tend to drink a little bit when he was playing. He was a lot of fun. I always enjoyed it. Well, Tim, sure appreciate you coming by, and we're going to get you back on here sometime. And like I said, good luck. And everybody else out there, if you need to contact me, it's awbennett5050 and I'll be glad to hear from you. And until next time, remember, if you ain't dead yet, you ain't done yet, and God bless you.